one of the most absurd interviews I've ever had to watch in my life.
I'm joined by Tim Miller, the host of the Bulwark podcast.
That little exchange you had about, it's so surprising they've never met. Do you know why Trump and Kamala Harris have never met, Pierce? Have you thought about it for a second? Do you know why they really haven't met?
Tell me.
Because he was a toddler and he threw a temper tantrum after he lost a fair election. And for the first time in America since the Civil War, we did not have a peaceful transfer of power. We did not have a ceremonial transfer of power where the former president, like a man, goes and stands on the stage and greets the next incoming president, where he helps the incoming team with the transition, where the vice president's team meets with the other. That didn't happen last time because Donald Trump attempted a coup and he had a temper tantrum and he flew home to Mar-a-Lago just to go golfing and to hang out with the Cougars on the pool deck.
To be clear, all of which
That's what happened.
Wow. Tim Miller, folks, of the Bulwark. That's right. The Bulwark. The defense goes after Piers Morgan because he didn't like the way that Corey Lewandowski answered the question about whether or not Trump ever met Kamala Harris. And he's saying it's because, you know what? He was a crybaby. He ran out to Mar-a-Lago. He didn't stand there. First of all, we all know what happened. You take that I card and you throw it out on the table. Insurrection. It ain't gonna work anymore, Timothy. We don't give a damn whether you call it. It was never an insurrection. You moron. Insurrection my ass. You didn't call it the protest that happened all right in 2017 in the inauguration, did you? Did you see what happened in Washington, D.C.? The buildings that were looted, the ATMs that were destroyed, the destruction of police vehicles, the fires that were started, people boarded that up. Where were you then, Tim? Where was the insurrection happening at that point? When Democrats do it, it's a freaking protest. Republican conservatives do it, it's an insurrection. And who gives a damn whether or not they met before? I'm glad he didn't meet her. Kamala Harris is an insignificant flea on the buttocks of the Democratic Party. She did nothing there as a senator. Oh, she made her name when she was questioning the Kavanaugh people. Yeah, because she could read from notes. Otherwise, she's an absolute bimbo. Let's go and let's hear more of this interview because I want to react to this guy who says he's a conservative. He says he's a moderate Republican. No, he's not. He's a neocon of the Dick Cheney, McCain, that type. The Bushes. No, neocons, we don't want you anymore in our party. You understand, Timothy?
President, like a man, goes and stands on the stage and greets the next incoming president, where he helps the incoming team with the transition, where the vice president's team meets with.
Oh, like Obama helped, right? With the incoming team, spying on the president, utilizing the FBI, with the amount of paperwork that was done, with Susan Rice. And at the very last minute, all those documents that she signed, allowing the FBI and the department and everybody to use the deep state to go after it. That's what you're talking about? He was never even invited to be there. They didn't want him there. And I'm glad he wasn't there. Peaceful transfer of power. What the hell are you talking about? There was a peaceful transfer of power. There was a freaking protest, which you guys decided to call an insurrectionist because you're all about words. That's all you're about, Timothy, just words. No facts, no logic, just words.
That didn't happen last time because Donald Trump attempted a coup and he had a temper tantrum and he flew home to Mar-a-Lago just to go golfing and to hang out with the Cougars on the pool deck.
To be clear, all of which
That's what happened. happened. That's why they haven't met,
Well,
because he tried a coup.
Well, to be clear, at the time, I heavily criticised him for all the things you've just said. But that doesn't explain why.
Okay, sure, but Corey Lewandowski comes on your
hang
show
on.
and he's like, "Oh, Donald Trump and Kamala haven't met."
Well, hang on. It
Oh
doesn't
my
mean-
goodness!
No, the
Wow,
point-
that's so interesting.
it
They haven't
doesn't-
met, and then Corey's over there saying
Hang
it's
on.
because
Let
Kamala
me
was
explain.
ineffective as a senator.
It doesn't
No,
make-
it's
it
because
does-
Donald Trump was supposed to be a deal maker, didn't meet with any of the Democratic senators. He said he was going to be the art of the deal man, but he didn't try to actually do any deals. All he did was insult people on Twitter, and then after he lost to Kamala Harris,
I get
fair
it.
and square, and Joe Biden.
It wasn't fair and square, you twit. It wasn't fair and square. You know that. They changed all the rules, all the regulations. They allowed votes to be counted, 5 years later, months later, days later. What happened in Pennsylvania? What happened to the Constitution? What happened to allowing the legislators to have that final, in terms of, the rules and regulations, where you can hold elections, how you can hold elections, who can hold elections? No, guess what? Secretaries of State stepped in. Oh, guess what? The governor stepped in. The state legislators weren't allowed to do anything. The Supreme Court of the states came in and said, yeah, you can do that. Mail-in ballots, they don't need chain of custody. No. Mail-in ballots, they don't need to have to be signed. No. If you're missing an envelope that the ballot's supposed to be inside, doesn't matter. Somebody else can drop off 30, 40, 50 ballots. Perfectly fine. Don't tell me it was a fair election. God, I'm kidding. It's ridiculous.
He didn't have the
I get it.
dignity
But why-
to have a transfer of power for the first time in American history.
I've
What
just
are you
said I agree-
talking about?
I've just said
It's embarrassing. He's an embarrassment.
I've just said I agree with you. So let's park that
Okay,
to
great.
one side.
Well,
What
but you didn't say it to Corey. You
No,
didn't
no.
challenge Corey. It was a very chummy interview. I know you want to get Trump on the show,
Well,
but it was very chummy.
Okay.
And you didn't
Ask
challenge
can be
Corey
chummy.
that much. it
Ask
didn't
can be
seem.
chummy too. Why didn't she make
Again,
herself
Donald
invited?
Trump ran.
Isn't that the job of
Oh,
senators?
come on. Piers. Donald Trump ran on this BS nonsense and come on this show. I'm the art of the deal man. I'm a deal maker, which was a book he didn't even write that got
Right.
ghostwritten. It was this fake persona. It was this Hollywood persona that he conned the American people into believing that he was some deal maker. Then he gets in the White House and he doesn't even try to work with the Democrats on a deal. All he does is insult them. He does nicknames. He trashes them. He didn't cut any deals. Donald Trump, Joe Biden ended up being the deal maker.
interest, can I ask you,
got the
look,
bipartisan
can I-
deal on gay marriage,
Let
on
me-
infrastructure.
all right, let me
So
ask
that's
you-
why Kamala didn't go to the White House. He didn't
Okay.
ever invite her. How about
Okay.
that?
Well, yeah, I
Did
would
you try that?
I'm curious about your own journey. You were Jeb Bush's
Yeah.
guy, Republican, and
Yeah.
now you're a Democrat. How does that happen?
You were Jeb Bush's guy, okay? You were Jeb Bush's guy. Jeb Bush, low energy Jeb. That's why you have your head up your ass all the time. Because your guy got absolutely creamed. Hundreds of millions of dollars in PAC money, Timothy. And what did you get? Did you even get it down? Was it one delegate? I'm not really sure. But is that how we're doing it now? Spend $100 million get one delegate? You got your ass handed to yourself by a non-politician. And so, of course, you've got TDS syndrome. You've got Trump deranged syndrome. You're such a hypocritical fool. And let's hear your journey, as Piers asked you. How did you go from being moderate Republican neocon supporter to becoming a Fulbright scholar on the Democratic side? I gotta hear this.
Well, I'm not a Democrat. I left the party in 2020. Very
Bullshit.
good timing, I thought. In about November of 2020, after the election, I was hopeful. Throughout 2020, I was hopeful that we could get our party back from Donald Trump and get back to a more classical, liberal, traditional party that had
Neocon.
respect for the rule of law, that had
Bullshit.
respect for our allies abroad, international relationships, that had respect for immigration and the immigrant story and how that's an important part of America. I was hoping we could get back to that kind of compassionate conservatism after 2020. And then what happened was Donald Trump lost. And he threw an extended temper tantrum. And rather than standing up to him, rather than telling him, "Sir, Mr. President, it's time for you to accept your loss and move on," all of the Republicans basically went along with it. And everybody participated in this absurd lie, in this absurd fantasy where
It wasn't the Republicans that went after him. You have to make a distinction here. There are Republicans who are the establishment elite. They didn't. They continued to undermine him. It was the people flyover country, the true conservatives, the grassroots. This is the people at the serfs, the vassals, the slaves, the common folk. They were with him. They were the conservative ones. They were the ones, okay, that were backing Trump. Not the Republicans in the establishment, not the Republicans on Capitol Hill, not the so-called Republicans that you like to call yourself.
Every Republican was like, "Yeah, we're worried about the voting machines," and I was so disheartened and discouraged by that I wrote an article saying I was leaving the party. It ended up being totally correct. Over the next 5 years, that now everyone who spoke out against Trump, like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, has been thrust out of the party.
Good.
And people who are like embarrassing clowns are made to be the nominee of our party, and like Mark Robinson in North Carolina or Kari Lake in Arizona, simply because they're willing.
Be careful there, Timothy. Going against Mark Robinson, you know what? I think I will. Let me get my political playing card deck out here. I'm going to throw out a couple of cards. Racist, boom. By God, you're a bigot. You oppose Mark Robinson, the black conservative, against a white liberal in North Carolina? Timothy. I think you're a racist. And of course, that fits you now in the Democratic Party. You're a bigot of the Democratic Party. The only thing that's missing from you is your white sheet. Where is it, Timothy? Where is it? Poke a couple of holes in it. Poke another couple of holes for your nose, your mouth, so you can breathe through it. I got to see that white cap on you, because you're against Mark Robinson. You're against a black guy being the governor of North Carolina. How apropos that a Democrat is a racist and a bigot.
Willing to suck up to Donald Trump. It's not a traditional conservative or a classically liberal party anymore. It's an embarrassment. It's a cult of one man, I'm very happy to leave it. And I think everything that's happened over the last 5 years has validated all of my criticisms of the party.
If she loses the debate, does she lose the election?
I don't think so. I mean, look, there are very few debates that are knockout punches. You know, what we saw in June
the last one
was an aberration, not the norm. You know, you don't see that very often. Usually, it's a mixed bag with some people thinking one won, something the other one. So I don't think that the debate is make or break. But I think it's very important. I think that a lot of the American people want to see that she can stand up to Trump, and then see that she's up for this.
Yeah.
And, because she's still getting introduced. And so I think it's very important to her for sure.
Yeah.
She's still getting introduced to the United States of America. She's still getting introduced. Oh my goodness. These guys are unbelievable. It's like, the Cheneys. Hey, you know what? Take them, Timothy. We want you to take them. You know what the trade-off is? This is like in the sports world. You try to trade and you try to do the best trade possible. So guess what? The Democrats actually think that they got Putin, who's endorsing Kumala. Yeah, Kumala is how you pronounce it, right? It's not Kamala. In the Hindi dialect, or the Indian South Asian dialect, it's Kumala. But she doesn't want to pronounce it that way. She wants Bruce Kamala, so she gets that black into it, the black way of saying it. Kamala. Kumala Harris. Oh, wow. We don't know what we can do if we have to see Kamala Harris coming into the White House. That would be unbelievable. That's a poor Indian accent on my part. Don't ask me why I got a poor Indian. I have no idea. Anyways, I digress. But the fact of the matter is that if you're talking trade, Here was a trade, folks. Putin going to the Democratic Party. Who do we get? Tulsi Gabbard coming to the Republicans. All right. Dick Cheney being chosen by the Democrats. Who does the Republicans get? RFK Jr. I mean, oh, there's another one. And the Democratic Party picks Liz Cheney. I mean, come on, folks. I'll take that trade. I'll take RFK. I'll take Tulsi Gabbard. I'll take that state senator, the majority senator from California. I can't think of her name right now, who switched parties and is now becoming a Republican. I'll take her. Texas Joe. I'll take her. Come on. I'll do it all day long, because we want to be strong. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I'm your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. So you all know what to do. Take a look at our video links above and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.